quiet seaside town, an evil laid to rest centuries ago, has risen. An abandoned fortress deep in the swamp holds a secret that could save the village or destroy it. Now, a band of adventurers sets out to dig up the wounds of the past and bring the light of day to the roots of ruin. This is Tabletop Gold.
Hello and welcome to Tabletop Gold, episode 35. My name is Lars Casteen. I'm the host of the show, joined today as ever by four of my friends. Let's meet them now. David, the Tin Man Chernicoff, is here.
Yes. Good evening. Hello. Thank you for having me. I'm enjoying the party.
Yeah, it's a great party. Robin Lange is here.
I am. Hello.
Armat Humphreys is here.
I am. I brought some Jell-O. I put it in the fridge to keep it cold, going off David's party theme.
Is that a nice thing to bring to a party, just a bowl full of Jell-O? Let's answer that question and more after we meet Zoe Chernicoff.
Hello.
Hi. Is that a party thing? You show up with a bowl of Jell-O and people are like, "Oh, thank God that guy brought some Jell-O." Is that what we're suggesting a party is like now? Is that what's happening?
I think a mold, right? If you're coming to a party, put it in a fucking Jell-O mold. You don't just bring a bowl of it. You want it to be like put some canned pears in there.
You want to get some ripples on that Jell-O.
Yeah, you want it to have
some
a
twists.
Just please don't let it be any of that ambrosia salad crap.
Robin, what is ambrosia salad? I don't know what you're talking about.
It's that salad that's like, I think sometimes people will make it with Jell-O as well, but it's got like marshmallows and canned and diced fruit.
Yeah, what is the adhesive? In my mind, it's mayonnaise, but that
and
can't
I think
be
there's
right.
sometimes mayonnaise in it as well,
Which is so gross.
Everything about it is wrong. Nothing about it is salad.
I've worked my way to mybakingaddiction.com/ambrosia-salad-recipe. And it looks terrible. It's not a thing that I want to eat. It's opaque in a way that I don't like my salads to be, personally.
Well, there goes another potential future sponsorship right out the window.
Sorry, ambrosia salad.
It doesn't look good. It doesn't taste good. The texture's wrong.
I'm actually glad that we are talking about food right now because I last night I made a pork tenderloin that I cooked via sous videing it, submerging it in a 138-degree water bath for 3.5 hours before then searing it, then using the drippings from the sous vide bag to make an impromptu, semi-improvised beer reduction in mustard sauce that I put with this pork tenderloin.
Okay.
And I got to the end of it, and I was just like, I've been cooking so much over this pandemic that it's like I'm becoming better and better at it. And the way that this went last night, I was just like I know I just sound like I'm bragging right now, but I had this feeling of like I am bragging. But the thing that I want to talk about is just that feeling of like, wow, I really enjoyed cooking that, and I think it's really good. And I was wondering what everybody else enjoys cooking, and if you don't enjoy cooking, just tell me more about ambrosia salad and the various
fun ingredient you'd add to mix it up.
The thing I most enjoy cooking, broadly speaking, is breakfast.
He's an egg man.
/ brunch. I enjoy eggs. I enjoy making a breakfast potato. I have enough experience that I can get them pretty crispy in the oven from trial and error. But like breakfast, I have enough experience now cooking breakfast for pretty large, like decently large groups of people, like 10 to 15. I've done a bunch.
So you're a short order cook.
Yeah, sort of, but like I can kind of like make it all more or less get done at the same time, so it's all pretty much ready to eat at the same time.
That's
like
awesome.
within a couple of, and so I when I'm doing it, I feel like I am getting it. I'm doing something useful, and I feel a kind of mastery over it that's very, very satisfying. But one of the reasons for that is that none of those things individually is all that complex.
Yeah. I mean, I'll say just from my own experience, if I'm ever in a situation with like a breakfast deal where there are 10 to 12 people that need to eat food, the level of appreciation and like respect that I have for the person that makes that happen is huge. Like that person is absolutely the hero of the morning.
Yeah, managing that much is I find that challenging actually.
So, and that's me, like, that's doing relatively straightforward thing, but I just have a lot of reps at that. Zoe is a good cook. Like, Zoe is a kick-ass cook, in my opinion.
What do you like cooking? What do you enjoy cooking most?
Before we had kids, I really enjoyed, I like cooking meals for people. I like choosing to do it. I don't like having to cook a meal, if that makes sense. Like, getting to opt in.
Totally.
Absolutely.
I was for a while there in my late 20s, early 30s into like sort of experimental cooking projects. Like I once tried to make Butterfingers from scratch. I once made American cheese from scratch.
Whoa.
That's cool.
That's so cool.
And I only have done those things once, right? Like I do it once and I'm like, okay, well, figured that out.
I did that.
Or like, okay. I took a couple of cheese making classes and when we lived in New York, which I really enjoyed. Yeah,
Cool.
That's cool.
Mozzarella, not that hard to make. Now I would say my go-to is pancakes in shapes on demand. David and I basically are short order cooks in our home. So like,
Yes. And not for ourselves.
No.
Also for ourselves, I guess. But
well, it's
not
cold by
primarily.
the time we get to it because someone has been
Yeah.
shouting, "Mother, that is not a very good diamond shape at the pancake you delivered," and you have to go back and.
Diamond that's a tough shape though, to get with.
It is.
Rob and Armat, either of you have anything that you particularly enjoy cooking?
I love cooking actually.
What do you like? So Robin, as somebody who is like you have a grin on your face. You were so excited to talk about this topic. I want to know what the thing that brings you the most joy to cook is.
I mean, it's fun just to make something quickly from a box. Like I love like brownies. I always just make from a box because you just want the end product for that. But when you're making something special, getting something from like really just going all the way from those really tiny separate pieces and doing those difficult bits and bringing them together to create something that you thought you maybe couldn't do. But honestly, so long as you just follow those steps and you kind of give yourself the time and are kind to yourself when you make mistakes, like you can kind of do anything. For every Christmas now, it's become a tradition where I make a mushroom Wellington.
Oh.
So that's one of those 4-hour dishes. And I will only do it once a year because it's a 4-hour dish to make. It's not an everyday type thing. But it's like really, it's a challenge. It's fun. It's like training to run a half marathon. You know, you tell yourself you can do it. And so long as you time it out, you can do it.
And then you end up with some Wellington at the end.
Yeah.
Just like a half
really
marathon.
good.
Armat, how about you?
Yeah, I don't cook.
What sort of Wellington do you make?
Nah, I mean, I used to bake more often with my dojo.
Right, of course.
Yeah, you're the baker.
Yes, the baking.
I was
baker.
actually pretty good at it because it's like you said, Robin. I'm like a very by the recipe kind of person. So like, if you tell me to put 2 cups of flour in, I will put like very precisely 2 cups of flour, no more, no less. But I think that's also what my big hang up about cooking is. It's like it's about passion and feel and like being in the moment and like intuiting, I think, recipes. And that just feels like a whole nother beast to me that I am not capable of.
Such a good distinction, dude. Like, I'm so with you. For complicated things, I'm like a recipe boy. And I've never
BOI.
Yep. He was a recipe boy. He said, "Don't you mess with me, boy."
I've just never like broken through the like ethereal plane into having like a feel for like it's just a different thing. And I feel like, Lars, that was what you were getting at.
That's what I'm trying to say with this thing that I made last night. It's like I kind of had a recipe, but I also like didn't have this stuff, and I didn't really care about like most of what the thing suggested.
Yeah.
And that was it really felt last night like that I'm not saying that I'm spectacular or anything, but I felt my way through something and wound up with something at the end where I was like, this is dope. Like, I want to eat this.
I think of it in my head as like the difference between cooking and fixing a meal. And I have almost intentionally just stepped away from the cooking, but it just kind of like freaks me out. It's not a good hobby for me. I'm bad with mistakes, etc. Like, I don't know.
To me, the difference between cooking and making a meal is like the difference between a spontaneous and a prepared spellcaster.
Oh,
wow.
Okay,
I think I might even get that.
Yeah. I deeply enjoy talking about food, so I'm glad that we got to do that for a while. That was fun.
Yeah.
Okay, let's get into our game. If you are enjoying Tabletop Gold, please rate and review us on your podcast app of choice. And we are going to, in a moment, start playing our game. But I just want to mention right off the bat that this is episode 35. We are breaking off a new 5 right now. 1 hero point per player, and 4 brand new listener-submitted hero point cards have been dealt out to everybody. If you would like, listener, to submit your own hero point card, you can find a link to our Discord server at www.tabletopgold.com. It's a lot of fun to write up these hero point cards. Come on over, submit them to us, and maybe it'll be in the game. Let's do it. Let's go.
Bum, 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 bum.
Wait, is that...
Bum, bum.
I don't know what song that was. I thought it was the Final Countdown.
Final Countdown reminiscent, but it was its own thing.
Just like David Pumpkins.
It's a beautiful spring morning in Otari, and Tril has just been greeted by her ex, a thief by the name of Befree, who has gotten in over her head. After tricking a trio of psychics from overseas to help her rob the nearby ruins by convincing them that she was their long-lost sister, she got captured by a cult of subterranean monsters, and one of those triplets wound up dead. Now, outside the open-air tent where the party has spent the night, Tril must contend with a distraught-looking Befree. So we're going to get into this conversation. I want to have a sense of where everybody is. I know that Tril has just opened the flap leading out of Rin's Wonders, the store that is the magical supplies store that is sort of operating as the home base for the party at this point. I don't know where everyone else is, though, at this point. It's 8:30 in the morning. It's a nice spring day. Where would you say you are right now after having finished your preparations for the day?
I think Vadim is still sort of wiping sleep from his eyes and like maybe stumbling his way to whatever caffeine alternative Galarian may have to offer.
We got to figure out the lore for this. We got to figure out what the caffeine is in this game.
I think there is something on Nethys like Red Eye Blend or something.
Okay.
Back when I was goofing around with alchemical items.
What is Mag up to?
Mag has been awake for 45 minutes or an hour already. She has stepped outside the tent and has walked a short ways down a grassy embankment to the creek outside, and she has been alternately stretching and meditating.
And what is Norman up to?
I think Norman and Tril woke up together around the same time, if I'm remembering right, and they were Norman was trying to fill her in on his antics from the night before and what he had learned. And I think aside from that, he's got kind of a grumbling in his tummy. He's feeling a little hungry for some snooks.
Right. I think that you were on the way to get snooks when Befree showed up right outside the store. Yeah. Okay. Tril, you see Befree standing there, and she looks tired. She looks like she has not really slept well during the night. She looks at you and she says, Tril, I owe you an explanation.
Tril looks at Befree, a little shocked that she's there.
Befree, what? I could ask what you're doing here, but I have something important to tell you.
And Tril takes Befree by the hand and takes her to the river, which is right next to Rin's Wonders.
Befree, you should sit down.
She sits down with Befree along the riverside.
Befree sits with Tril.
Befree, we went back. The four of us, we went back to the keep. We went back to save your brother, and I'm so sorry, but we were too late. We were too late. We couldn't save him. We brought him back, but we couldn't save him. I'm so sorry, Befree.
Tril, please. And she looks pained at the sadness that you're expressing right now. I don't want to stop you from telling me what you're telling me now, but I owe you so much of an explanation. I want to tell you why it is that I disappeared from your life.
Whatever you need to tell me, Befree, I'll listen. I want to understand, and I'm so sorry.
No, stop. You must not be sorry. Here's what I need to tell you, please. And she just blurts out, look, I am not the sister of those three psychics. I'm not related to...
What?
Tril is now very confused.
And she grabs your hand and starts walking back towards the store. I think that the sort of romance of the situation by this river is like not working for what it is that she wants to tell you right now. And she says, I had a plan I set in motion a long time ago. I had heard of les triplets incroyable Jeffrey, and I knew that my coincidentally rhyming first name and my beautifully authentic Galton accent would allow me to convince the three of them to aid me in some way. So I sent them a letter. I lied to them.
And as she says this, Tril pulls her hand out of Befree's hand.
I sent a letter to these three strangers, and they were so quickly convinced by the mere suggestion that I was their sister that they boarded a vessel and came here. And by the time I met you, Tril, they were already en route. And then I fell for you. I fell hard. I remember I listened to you sing. And I heard your beautiful songs, and I heard the scary songs about these things out there in the swamp. And I knew through all of our time talking to each other that when the three triplets arrived, that would be the end for us. So they showed up, and I cut you off, and it broke my heart to do it. But I had arranged a plan with them to invade that lighthouse, and I could not bear to lie to you while going through that, and I could not...
But you already lied to me. You lied to me and you lied to them. And you put them in danger.
Yes,
For what?
She looks down and she sort of twists her foot in the dirt. She says...
Her normal-sized foot?
Her normal Do you see how normal it looks against the dirt? I was naive about the danger that the lighthouse presented. I should have listened to your songs. Every time I heard you singing about, what happens to those who cross Belcora and the songs about the dangers in the lighthouse, I realized that I had gotten deeper and deeper into this fiction that I had created. And I realized, as we stepped into the boat for the first time, how wrong I had been. I could have been sitting with you. I looked down at the snook I was eating, and I shared it with these 3 strangers. And it tasted like nothing to me.
Oh, Befree.
And then we were captured by those Morlocks, and instead of fighting back, I took the coward's way out and offered up one of them to him.
Oh, Befree.
Yes.
How could you?
I know. They believed we were a team, and I betrayed them.
I don't think I ever really knew you. Did I?
I suppose I deserve that.
I only knew what you wanted me to know. I think it's time for you to leave.
She starts looking over her shoulder. You do not owe me anything, and you can send me off if you'd like to. But, Norman, Barbara, whatever they're going by today.
Barbara? What?
Yes. Told me last night that the Joffrey has died.
Yes.
It hit me like a rampaging beast. I know Joffrey's death is my fault. It is only my fault. And now the triplets are leaving town.
Twins.
Yes, they're twins.
Thanks to you.
And they want me to go with them.
Do they still think you're their sister?
They do.
Oh, Befree. You have to tell them the truth.
Well, the thing that makes that difficult is that the triplets want me to come home with them. But first, they want to stop by the lighthouse to rescue Joffrey. And they want me to come with them.
Well, there's no reason for them to. We've brought him back.
She says, no, I need to do what's right. Listen, Tril, when I saw you and your friends saving the triplets from those strange lights, I couldn't believe what you are capable of. I saw the strength of your songs. The same songs that haunted me, I saw them spurring on your friends to fight even harder, to save me. And it was amazing, the way that you stepped forward and you said what was right, you did what was right, you took control of the situation, and it was incredible. And even though Norman sort of got tangled up in his backpack and it was a little iffy for a moment there.
Yeah, he does that sometimes.
Tril, I need help from you, Tril. I feel myself getting pulled back to the horrors of that lighthouse. The triplets, the twins, whatever they are, they are going to take me back there, and I don't have the strength to face the consequences if I tell them the truth.
Befree, you have done something horrible. You have done many horrible things, as a matter of fact. You've lied to me. You've lied to Joffrey, and Meffrey. You've lied to yourself. And now you're standing in front of me and telling me that you don't think you're strong enough to be able to make a good decision?
No, I understand. You're right.
Here's what you're gonna do. Here's what's gonna happen. We're gonna tell the brothers what happened. You're going to tell them the truth. And then you're gonna go back to Galt.
And it's as Tril says that you hear a rustling in the tent. And And all of a sudden, the Morlock, Gralgust, flies up in the air about 100 feet and levitates in midair.
What?
Who took his hood off?
He's so Mag squints up from where she's meditating by the river and is able to see that the hood is still on. And you hear like a faint sound of howling coming from him. Oh! As he's levitating in the air. And in the distance, as Tril looks up and sees Gralgust thrown up into the air, she sees Befree and Jeffrey standing nearby, talking to each other. Befree is focused. He has his fingers up to his temple. He says something to Jeffrey, and Jeffrey sighs and nods at Befree, and suddenly Gralgust slams down into the ground, chair and all, killing him instantly on impact with the ground. And Befree turns to Tril and she says, "Oh my God! What do I do? What do I do?"
Tril grabs Befree's hand and runs over to Befree and Jeffrey.
Befree, Jeffrey! Oh my God!
As Tril does this, what is everybody else doing?
Mag rages and runs straight to the other two of them, and grabs each of them in an arm and hoists them off the ground.
Okay.
I'm not going to attack them.
Okay, so Mag is running over with the intent of doing hostile action, because we're going to pick up before Mag gets over there.
Not hostile, with the intent of neutralizing these two and figuring out what that stern talking to territory. She's not gonna hit him with a sword.
I'm seeing like a high school principal saying, "Hey, you two, stop fighting."
Correct. Yes, restoring order, but in a mad way.
And what is Norman doing?
So I think Norman was outside the tent ready to go get breakfast, sees this guy go up and thinks to himself like, that's some impressive height. I've never been able to throw anything more than 30 or 40 feet. Mag's rushing around. Norman sort of looks around, and he's gone over with a toe to sort of like poke at the Morlock King.
So Norman is investigating the Morlock.
Yeah.
I think Norman is able to, let's just say the moment Norman gets to this, Norman knows, he sees the way that the chair is like split apart. This guy is not around anymore.
What about his teeth?
Let's pick that up later.
Oh yeah, we haven't gotten any.
So Vadim, you're in the room with Gralgust when he gets sent up through the top of this open air tent.
Oh yeah, what did Vadim see?
So Vadim, I think, just saw Gralgust shoot up into the air.
Totally.
I'm assuming. Yeah.
Yes.
And I think he's, as is his reaction, drawn his blade right away. And is like coming out of the tent, confused and being like, "What's going on? Are we under attack?"
And it's as that all of these things happen simultaneously that we pick up with Tril, standing next to Befree, standing right in front of the two triplets.
What did you just do?
And they turn towards you and they say like, "One moment, please." And Befree turns to Jeffrey and says, "I think that was quite a sad creature." And Jeffrey agrees. He says, "As I was communicating with him in his mind, it occurred to me that these Morlocks were small-minded, simple creatures who had just become transfixed by the presence of a more powerful force." And Befree says, "Well, this was an evil creature, but it was tragic." And Befree at that moment steps forward and looks at Tril and says, Should I tell him now?"
Well, shit. Tril has a moment of pause because she suddenly thinks, if these guys can this calmly murder, look at Gralgust and say, oh, he's a poor, pathetic Morlock. Oh, these poor Morlocks. And have no remorse for just murdering a poor Morlock. What are they going to do to Befree, who's been lying to them this whole time? And Tril, in this split second of observing all of this, has to pause and think about what her response is.
I think as Tril pauses, Befree just blurts it out. Befree just looks at you frantically for a moment, wanting your approval, and she just says, I'm not really your sister. I lied to you. Joffrey is dead. It is my fault. This is all my fault. All of this is my fault. And Befree and Jeffrey look at each other.
And Tril turns to Befree and Jeffrey, just waiting for their response as well after she said that now.
And they pause for a moment. You see Jeffrey is analyzing the situation. He sort of seethes for a moment. He winces at Befree, turns back to Befree, who just said that Gralgust was tragic. And he says, I do not feel that way about this Befree. She was inspired by no great force to do what she did. It sounds from what she's telling us that she just lied to us. And Befree looks back and says, again, seethes, gritting his teeth, looking at Jeffrey, looking at Befree, and looking at Tril, says, yes, I agree. Befree turns to Tril and says, give her to us.
Okay, now, boys. Now listen. I know you're upset.
While this is going on, Norman is whispering to Mag. He's sort of stopped trying to pry a molar out of the Morlock. Mag. And he's trying to motion her over.
Mag is confused. Mag is missing a lot of pieces of the story. So her main concern is Tril's bodily safety.
Tril has placed herself in between.
She has no concern for Befree.
And Norman, who was trying to motion Mag to him, gives up on that idea and goes inside and decides he wants to try and bring Joffrey's body out.
Yeah. So Tril looks at the two of them and she says,
so what would you do with her? I mean, I'm just as furious. Before you even got here, she lied to me. She lied to you. I've never been madder with anyone.
Then you have every reason to give her to us right now.
But we are not here to hurt anyone else. And I'm not going to stand here while we hurt anyone else. And I think you two have already gotten justice just now for your brother. And I think we need to end it here right now.
So it's at this moment that Norman comes out of Rin's shop with Joffrey's body.
So he's kind of cradling the body. It's pretty big for him and a little heavy, but he's trying to treat it with the dignity he knows that that Joffrey's brothers would want. And he looks around, and the thing that comes to him to do, he just starts sort of processing step by step, slowly going, Amazing Grace.
Tril's harp is inside, so she can't play along.
So are you trying to do some sort of check there, Zoe? Are you trying to get something from them in doing that?
Main goal is just to distract them from Tril and Befree, right? To diffuse this situation.
Tril was hoping for a diplomacy check.
So Tril is making a diplomacy check to try to persuade them to not attack.
Yes.
I'm going to say that this is going to be very difficult to do.
Probably, yeah.
If they have a sense that you are attempting to protect Befree, they probably are not going to react well to that. So let's get that diplomacy roll.
Okay.
In the background, Vadim is hurriedly pulling a boot on.
That
He's
is
just going, what the shit?
a 22.
Jeffrey, looking over at Norman singing this song, marching with the body of Joffrey, turns to Befree and says, "They are trying to protect her. This is a mockery. You know what it is we have to do."
Knew that 22
And
wouldn't
it's at
be
that
enough.
moment that I need you to roll for initiative.
Oh no!
Yeah. Roll for initiative.
I'm not happy about this at all.
Oh my god, how much time did we spend saving these fuckers, you know?
Seriously.
Jesus.
You're standing here on the road, on the dirt road in front of Rin's shop. Tril is standing between Jeffrey and Befree and Befree. Norman has just come out of the door of the shop with the body of Joffrey in tow. Vadim is standing nearby, sword drawn. And Mag, I'll say raging. That's,
Could I be rolling with diplomacy rather than perception?
yes. David, what did you roll?
That's a 15 for Mag, who
I feel like that's the most commonly rolled Mag initiative. I feel like you're always rolling 15s.
Yeah. 15's for initiative, and then 3's for melee strikes.
Okay, good. Let's see how that works out for you this time. Robin, what did you roll for initiative?
Tril, right in the middle of it all. Rolling diplomacy, rolled a 24.
Okay, I'm going to let you know right now, you're going first. Tril gets to react before anybody else does. Vadim.
Vadim got a 21, so now that his boot's on, he's ready to rock.
Okay, and how did Norman roll for initiative?
Norman, so certain that this amazing grace move was going to call for peace and harmony, rolled a 13.
So here we are at the beginning of combat. Jeffrey and Befree are looking at Befree, ready to hurt her and anybody who stands between them and her. Tril is up first.
I feel like Tril doesn't want to just straight out attack him with dangerous magic. That feels against Tril's MO right now. It feels tricky. Tril doesn't want to attack them with acid splash. These aren't Morlocks. I think Tril's going to actually start off with Bane, since that... Well, will Bane affect psychics?
Bane dings them on attack rolls, so if you think they're going to be making a lot of attack rolls, that's a possible thing.
That would probably make sense. But it's a 5-foot square, isn't it?
Yeah, it's a 5-foot emanation around you.
So they're not within 5 feet of me.
No.
So Bane is not super helpful right now.
You could do it to Befree out of spite.
Take that, you liar.
We all just turn on Befree right now. We just turn around and slaughter Befree to win over the twins. Frankly, she kind of has it coming.
That's a Norman plan if ever I've heard one.
So I can cast Bane, though, and then extend it next turn.
True.
Tril's going to start off with her standard start off of Lingering Composition and Inspire Courage, because why not?
Woo!
So let's get that performance check. That's going to be a 22.
All right.
Yeah, that's a success. So your next composition cantrip is going to last for 3 rounds.
So let's get that Inspire Courage in for 3 rounds. Everyone's got some Inspire Courage.
Thank you, Tril.
And Befree looks at you and a tear runs down her face and she says, "Thank you."
And then she's going to cast Bane. Bane won't do anything this round, but let's hope that's just the debuff that we need for a later round.
It is now Befree's turn. Befree looks around and starts making hand motions and looks at Tril and says, "You know you don't have any way of saving her. And I need Tril to make a will save as these words echo in her mind with a sort of magical resonance."
Oh, what's that? You want me to make a will save? You want Tril to make a
Yes,
will
please.
save? What's that?
I do. I want you to beat a 22.
You want Tril to beat a 22? Tril rolled a 23.
Oh! Oh!
So that means that this spell fails, or you succeed against the spell, which means that you will only become frightened 1.
Oh boy.
I'm only kind of scared of you.
And it's at this point that Befree takes a step to the south towards a tree to get a better vantage point of the fight. It is now Vadim's turn.
So Vadim starts by sort of rolling out his shoulders and like giving his blade a quick spin in his hand.
It's a beautiful
Points it at
weapon.
Befree. And as he's drawing his dagger as first action, points the Aldori dueling sword at him and says, "You know, if you give up now, I won't kill you." He's trying to imply that his strikes will be non-lethal if they comply. Then he's going to stride, sort of nimbly leaping over the fence, and then makes a strike with the Aldori dueling sword. Not non-lethally on this first strike.
This is a business strike.
This is to show you get the carrot and then you get the stick.
Wait a minute. This seems more like the stick, no?
That was a 17 for a 28 to hit.
Oh.
He tries to twist out of the way, and you just you slam him with the sharp side of the sword.
9 damage. And as the blade connects and like a shallow cut sprays a little blood, he goes, "There's more of that. I strongly urge you to consider surrendering to us."
Mm-hmm.
So it is Mag's turn now. Mag is raging, but does not have a weapon drawn.
Mag is very, very disappointed with everyone.
Oof.
She's not mad. She's disappointed.
Mad
That's
disco
worse.
mom.
That's
I'm
worse.
just kidding. She's super mad and also slightly disappointed.
You can be both. That's the
Yeah.
thing you learn as you get older.
That's adulthood.
Yeah.
Both mad and disappointed.
So already raging, Mag draws her bastard sword two-handed, moves into the fray to take up a position, shielding both Befree and Tril to an extent from Jeffrey, and then we'll make an initial very much lethal strike at Jeffrey. And that is a 30 to hit.
That is a
Ooh.
critical hit as Jeffrey stumbles back, exposing a huge section of unarmored chest, and you're able to cut into it very easily.
Well, here comes critical damage. That is a 3 on my 2 dice for 20 damage.
It's still a huge hit on
sure
Jeffrey.
is. Rolling
Yeah.
2d12 for 3 and still getting 20 damage out of it? Oh, okay. This is so it's so great. Oh, just
So, would you say you like this game right now, David?
presently, in spite of a bad die roll, which has never happened before. So at Mag's the bastard sword arcs through the air, catching the morning light, and connects brutally with Jeffrey's chest.
As he steps back in shock and surprise. It's Befree's turn. She leans towards Tril, clasps her hands tightly between her own, kisses her on the forehead, and runs towards the building.
That checks out.
So unimpressed by her.
Just
Like
doing the
Robin is.
Befree
Yeah, why
stuff.
are we all fighting for her?
Robin
And
is
as
so
she-
unimpressed with her.
As she runs off, Jeffrey holds his hand up to his head and just starts chanting strange, arcane syllables. And suddenly, a number of objects from around the area, saw blades, a log, a sharpened stick, rise up off of the ground and then hurl themselves in just a huge mass towards Vadim, Tril, and Mag.
Befree went the other way.
Seriously.
Oh, but he's analyzed the situation and he's determined that you are the thing standing between him and Befree.
Ugh.
So the way that I just want to roll something out here. This assault is going to deal 2d10 bludgeoning damage. I'm going to roll that damage now. 13 bludgeoning damage as these objects start spinning around in a vortex. I need each of you to make a reflex saving throw, and that's going to determine how much of this damage you take. This is what in this game is called a basic saving throw. If you critically fail, you take double damage. If you fail, you take full damage. If you succeed, you take half damage. And if you critically succeed, you take none of it.
Tril got a 20.
Vadim got a 23.
And it's a 24 for Mag.
Oh, wow.
Okay, so what that means is that Vadim and Mag manage to dodge out of the way and will take half of those 13 points of damage, which is 6 points. Tril is going to take a full fence post to her torso for the entirety of 13 points of damage.
Ooh.
I think it would probably be like a louder thing than that. But
Yeah, that was like a paper cut, not a saw blade to the abdomen.
that sounded like Mag there.
Yeah, you did.
And he takes a step back to put some distance between himself and Mag as he starts nursing this wound on his chest.
Mag is going to use no escape to follow Jeffrey back.
And he's surprised by that too. Like he underestimates you.
So many do.
Befree looks over at Norman and says, I assumed that she was just the meat, but it seems that maybe she will be saving my life today. And as Befree says that to Norman, it is Norman's turn.
Norman shakes his head at her and he goes, you thought you'd found a fellow liar in me, but you're just a coward. You're not a liar. Stay right here. Someone tells Befree what is going on.
That was too cool. Hero point.
So Norman has stepped up to the fence. He sees Jeffrey. He's trying to distract him. He feels frustrated by how this has gone. And he goes, just take your brother and get out of here. And he uses TKP to hurl Joffrey's body at Jeffrey.
No.
Because
okay, they see this happening and they become like, you see them darken as like their faces darken as Joffrey's body flies in midair towards Jeffrey. So let's get that attack roll, please.
Oh, Norman.
It's just a 14.
Oh, Norman, how could you?
So the 14 is going to miss as Joffrey's body slides face first in the dirt into Jeffrey's feet.
I think this just became a fight to the death.
Can psychics rage?
It's round 2. The body of Joffrey has just flown into the middle of this dirt road that you're standing around. Tril, Mag, and Vadim are standing in the midst of a cyclone of random objects that have been snatched cyclically off of the ground. Norman is standing nearer to Rin's shop, just in front of Befree, and Jeffrey and Meffrey are standing a short distance to the east. It is now Tril's turn.
Tril's gonna move first, and Bane moves with Tril, right?
Yes.
So as Tril moves, that'll get her closer to Jeffrey. So she's gonna move 10 feet over, so she's also closer to Mag. I'm still absolutely just thrown by what Norman just did.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
You're not the only one thrown by that.
Oh man, Norman. So Tril's moved. Tril's next action is going to be to extend Bane.
Okay, so for one action you extend Bane. That means that Jeffrey is now in range of your Bane. So Jeffrey tries to make a will save, and he just barely succeeds. He has a 19, beating your DC of 18.
Darn it.
Well, I'll keep on trying, guys. I gotta get him to stop.
And as she was going to try diplomacy again to try and talk them through this, but Norman's action, she kind of has realized.
You don't feel like they're going to be open? He just handed the body over. Very generous.
Guys, can we just pump the brakes here on
Let's
this
take a deep
altercation?
breath. We're past pumping the brakes now that we've just thrown their dead brother's body at them?
Now let's all summon our highest and best selves here.
We were doing so good at not being murder hobos.
Gave their dead brother's body back to them in a somewhat more aggressive way than maybe
Is that
we should
not
have.
what they came here for?
We were being so good at trying to find peace. We brought the Morlock back alive. Guys.
We were really moving away from the corpse flinger moniker
Oh,
there
and
for
then
a
we
minute.
literally flung a corpse. Like the one corpse that we were trying to be nice to, we flung it. We flung it.
It was a heated situation, you know.
Yeah.
Mistakes get made in those.
I mean,
Yeah, you're
when you
taking
have
it out of
teenagers.
context.
Yeah, at this point,
Teenagers, what can you do?
when you frame it like that, of course it sounds terrible.
So with her last action, then Tril will raise her shield.
So Tril's shield cantrip appears in front of her, and it is now Befree's turn. Befree shouts out, "Put it down!" And Mag feels that sound reverberating in her mind, and I need Mag to make a will save.
That is a 20 on the die.
That is a critical success. You are unaffected by Befree's command.
Do I pick up an
You-
extra sword or something?
Yeah, it multiplies. There's suddenly 2 swords in your hands. No!
Stop stealing my gimmick!
The mirror image from the dead Morlock has transferred to Mag and become an all-powerful tool.
That's exactly how that spell works when it fails. It does exactly that. Befree is going to take he runs around Vadim closer to the store and closer to Befree.
God, I wish I had a reaction to deal with that.
And as he does that, Vadim sees that now is his chance to act.
Crap. Also, speaking of reaction, I should have glimpsed that damage for Tril. I'm so sorry. I was not thinking.
I'm sure there will be more.
Still waking up.
Yeah, exactly. I have not had my blood eye coffee yet. Clearly.
Vadim has one of those refillable travel mugs that says, "Don't ask me to glimpse before I've had my coffee."
You don't have to be crazy to work here, but it helps.
And if you'll excuse me, I'll be putting that in the merch ideas document.
Yeah, if you could just add that, that'd be great.
Yeah.
So Vadim is just going to stride after Befree, going, "Oh, no, you don't." Again, having lost some of his patience, he's going to make a double strike. So the Aldori dueling sword is a 15, and the dagger is a 22.
So Befree dodges out of the way, ducking his head beneath the Aldori dueling sword, but the dagger finds its target in his side.
Excellent.
Ooh.
That is 8 damage to Befree.
So the two of these twins are looking pretty beat up as Mag and Vadim split off and chase one down each. It is now Mag's turn.
The first thing she will do is stand up to her full height, which is well over 6.5 feet tall, stand over this cowering, tremulous, psychic creep,
Haha.
and she will seek to intimidate him. My standard roll here is a 4. And that is a 19 to intimidate.
That's not going to work. He just sort of tisks. He goes, "You're going to need to do better than that to shake me, you meat."
To which Mag responds, "Meet this," and makes a 2-handed strike with the bastard sword. And that is a 29 to hit.
That is another critical hit as he
Ooh.
tisks you and you again cut a massive gash in his torso.
For 34 damage.
Oh my god.
And
Bye-bye.
that kills him.
Oh.
He's cut down, collapses on the ground,
Maybe
falls face first on top of Joffrey's body.
Just gonna say, I imagine him pancaking on top.
And as the two halves of his body fall to meet the already slain body of his triplet brother, Max stands over the grisly pile and screams, "Who is meat?"
Oh, yeah, she does.
Oh, and she has a third action. Let's see.
Norman quietly mumbles to himself, I guess they are quadruplets again.
While I just for a moment, while David's is figuring out his third action, on Foundry, the image that Lars put up of the triplets is just this head. For each of the triplets is this head, and when a character is dead, a skull comes up, a slightly translucent skull, and the way it's now superimposed over the head looks like a child wearing a Halloween costume.
It fits so well on the icon.
It's the exact same size as the face that Lars put on.
Yeah.
Totally intentional. Exactly what I meant to do.
Almost perfectly like the shape of the hipster glasses that he's wearing too.
Yeah.
It's like really, really nicely on there.
Suffice it to say, it's hard to absorb the gravitas of the moment.
And so Mag's third action will be to move and take up a position right in Befree's grill, placing another big body between Befree and Tril and Norman.
Okay, on her turn, Befree is going to collapse to the ground, start holding her head between her hands. It is now Norman's turn.
Oh, Befree.
So Norman decides he wants to try and make a distraction with the fact that Befree has just collapsed. He goes, I think she's dead, to try and get Befree to like distract him and get him flat-footed.
Yeah, give me that deception roll.
That's a 24.
And that's versus his perception DC, I believe. That is going to succeed as he whips around and turns towards Befree and says, "What?" Looking towards Jeffrey, he's like, "No!" And then he turns to Befree, he's like, "I don't understand." He's completely floored by this.
And Norman is going to use that moment to wing one of the saw blades that was flying around before at him with TKP. And that is a 24.
And that 24 is going to hit.
Wow, that's a total of 18 damage. 19. Sorry, I had to add my troll one. So 19 damage from Norman.
So that is a huge hit as he is distracted and he gets pummeled by this formerly levitating farm equipment.
Classic TKP, formerly levitating farm equipment.
And here we are. It's the top of round 3, and this situation looks like it is basically under control. Tril is standing in the middle of the road, Befree flanked more or less by Vadim and Mag a short distance away, with Norman and Befree, who has collapsed on the ground nearby as well. It is now Tril's turn.
Tril looks on the ground at the bodies of Jeffrey and Joffrey and looks over at Befree. And she's just so... In this moment, she's just very tired.
We just did so much for them. And what's this all come to?
And she takes a couple steps towards Befree and stands next to Befree and Vadim.
Hasn't this been enough? You've lost 2 brothers. Do you want to lose your life as well? End this. Say you're done and just leave.
Yeah, I think that this makes sense. I'm going to ask you to make a diplomacy check. It sounds like you're trying to get him to surrender.
Yes, absolutely. And it's not a great diplomacy check. It's only 17.
He looks up at you and says, "What do I have left if I give up now?"
Just because you were les triplets incroyable doesn't mean you can't be incroyable all by yourself.
It is too late for me.
No, never.
Yeah, he ignores you. He pushes you away.
Can Tril try and sing an inspiring song as her third action to try and inspire him?
Yeah, let's do that. If you absolutely, if you want to do a performance and try to break his heart with your performance, that is something you can do.
Okay, with her third action, she's going to try and perform for him to break his heart to try and end this. That'll be your last action. I just don't want to kill him. Tril just really doesn't want to kill him. Oh, she hits a 17 again. 2 17s in a row. Come on.
He says, "Save your breath, Tril."
Well, I tried.
And that's Tril's turn.
He looks at Vadim. And he says, "Is this really what you want to be doing?" And you hear echoing, be doing in your head. And I need a will save from Vadim.
23.
That's a success, meaning that Vadim is only clumsy one and stupefied one as his thoughts get clouded and he becomes clumsy. So Befree then starts to run.
Mag will no escape Befree this time, reacting quickly to Befree's attempt to flee and pursuing Befree step for step.
And as Mag runs after Befree, it is now Vadim's turn.
Vadim will stride to flank Befree with Mag.
I'm sorry. You made your choice.
No attempt to redeem this gentleman from Vadim.
And then he's going to make a non-lethal double slice.
Oh, shit. Okay. You got me.
I know. I was just trying to psych people out there.
Yeah, you totally got me.
A befuddled, non-lethal double strike.
Yeah. Hey, which end do I use again? Oh, jeez, this is going to be a problem. 22 and a crit 27. Or I guess it would just be a 18, so 27.
But still a 20 on the die, so if you need that attack, that'll be a crit card.
Oh, cool.
So let's roll damage for that first one.
All right. That's 8 damage.
And that 8 damage knocks him down as he collapses on the ground, knocked out, a short distance from Jeffrey and Joffrey. And with that, this combat is over.
And the party is robbed of yet another meaningful crit card.
Yeah.
So, okay, I guess I'll do this in character, although David and Mag have very similar questions right now. What are we going to do with this thief that tried to kill us?
We
Let him go?
Let him go. Just send him back to Galt with his brothers.
To borrow what he said, there's a tragedy here. What they did attacking us was evil, but it's understandable evil. I'm sorry they lost another brother. It shouldn't have come to this, but when we make bad choices, they compound, unfortunately.
And Vadim whips the blood off of his blades and sheaths them.
Mag follows suit, whipping the blood off of her blade, and says, "You're right, Vadim. It shouldn't have come to this." And with that, she whips her head around at Befree.
And Tril does the exact same thing. Tril turns as well.
And you. I said it before. It's time for you to go. I kept them from hurting you. I didn't want anything bad to happen to you. but it's time for you to go, Befree.
Mag emphasizes the point by standing directly behind Tril and placing her weapon point down on the ground. The result of which is that the handle is still visible above Tril's head. And Mag leans lightly against it, stares Befree in the eye, and very gently clears her throat.
So there is nothing I can say to apologize enough. I understand.
You've done plenty here.
Tril says with her eyebrows very tightly knitted together.
The only way you can make up for anything you've done here is to change your entire life going forward. But you can't do that here.
I understand. I'm sorry. I should have listened to your songs, Tril. I should have heard the warnings that they made about that lighthouse. And I should have heard the message of courage to stand up to these things that you're afraid of. As it is, I know that I didn't pay enough attention to the danger out there, and I didn't embrace what my heart really wanted within myself. Perhaps someday things will be different, but I do not know. And she grabs her traveling bag and starts walking out of town. She looks back for a moment at Tril, sighs, and then continues walking north along the road.
Tril sighs as she walks away.
Well, I do love to watch her walk away.
And we'll pick up from there next week.
The Roots of Ruin is a Tabletop Gold production, produced under the Paizo Incorporated Community Use Policy. The Roots of Ruin uses trademarks and/or copyrights owned by Paizo Inc., used under Paizo's Community Use Policy. We are expressly prohibited from charging you to use or access this content. Paizo does not recognize, endorse, or sponsor this project in any way. Original characters and content are the property of Tabletop Gold. For more information about Paizo Inc. and Paizo products, visit paizo.com. We at Tabletop Gold would love to hear from you. Email us at letters@tabletopgold.com and find all our social links at tabletopgold.com.